11 soldiers killed in the latest Kabul attack. Australia aims to become a major arms exporter. And dangerous levels of salt being consumed by children.
This is SBS World News with Darren Mara.
Good evening. IS has claimed responsibility for the latest deadly assault in the Afghan capital, Kabul. 11 soldiers were killed and 15 wounded in the third militant attack in just over a week. This time, a military base was targeted. The Australian Defence Department says Australian personnel assisted Afghan security forces responding to the incident and provided medical support.
It's an all too familiar sound for the people of Afghanistan. Another day of bloodshed rocking the capital, Kabul. Gunmen launching a pre-dawn assault on the Marshal Fahim Military Academy. It's believed at least 4 militants attacked the building, an intense gun battle raging for hours. Officials say one attacker blew himself up, one was killed and another 2 are still fighting.
I was at home and getting ready for morning prayers. There were some big blasts. The gun battle is still ongoing and the roads are blocked.
Kabul police confirmed the battle included rocket fire. The latest attack happened on a day of mourning, funerals being held across Kabul after more than 100 people were killed in a suicide bomb attack yesterday. Shock giving way to despair. Afghan security forces have arrested 4 people in connection with yesterday's attack. A suicide bomber drove an ambulance full of explosives to a security checkpoint, the detonation causing carnage. The Taliban claimed responsibility for Kabul's worst attack in months, a major blow to the internationally backed Afghan government that had vowed to improve security and stamp out the terror group. The message from the Vatican: condemnation.
How long will the Afghan people have to endure this inhumane violence? Let us pray in silence for all the victims and their families, and we pray for those in that country who continue to work to build peace.
The message from the street: exasperation.
Every day there is fear of attacks here, and living has become very dangerous to everyone. It's not safe to live in Afghanistan anymore.
Only last week the Taliban claimed a major attack on the Intercontinental Hotel. Days later, in Afghanistan's east, Taliban insurgents targeted the Save the Children charity in Jalalabad. The United States-led campaign, which Australia has played a major part in, undeterred.
It does not impact our commitment to Afghanistan, our commitment to the mission and seeing this through, and our commitment to making sure that the Afghan national security forces have what they need to deal with this particular enemy right here.
The internationally led operation is now in its 17th year in Afghanistan. The situation's so bad the US has actually increased operations in the past 12 months. Taliban attacks in the capital are on the rise, the conflict seemingly endless.
Well, I think Afghanistan has become a playing ground for many conflicting forces at both regional and international level. I mean, the Afghanistan conflict is now very much tied to the Pakistan conflict, Iranian-Saudi rivalry, Pakistani-Saudi strategic alliance, as well as the presence of Daesh.
Another month of relentless bloodshed with no end in sight. Matt Cannellan, SBS World News.
And Indonesia's President Joko Widodo has gone ahead with the state visit to Afghanistan tonight, despite the recent wave of militant attacks in Kabul. Afghan President Ashraf Ghani said he was proud to host the leader of the world's most populous Muslim nation on behalf of what he called a grieving but resilient nation. War-torn Yemen is on the brink of breaking up tonight after southern separatists launched what the Saudi-backed government is calling a coup. Supported by the United Arab Emirates, southern forces seized government buildings in the city of Aden. Fierce clashes have killed at least 15 people.
The war in Yemen is as complicated as regional tensions are old. And the seemingly intractable war, now in its 3rd year, just got worse. UAE-backed southern separatists overran former allies loyal to the Saudi-based Yemeni government of President Abdul Rabu Mansour Hadi. His seat of power in Aden under attack, a once united front against the Iranian-aligned Houthi rebels, appears to be in tatters.
إذا لم يؤمن بالشرعية فهو بتمرد على الشرعية ويعتبر عدو للبلد كلها والوطن.
Both sides have been told to stand down, but that new enemy, the Southern Transitional Council, has sent reinforcements from the west. The UN-recognised government of President Hadi may control much of Yemen, but the separatists want to revive a once independent state of South Yemen after corruption and discrimination concerns were not addressed. Hadi loyalists, though, are warning the territory was hard fought and won and won't be given up lightly.
These positions are considered parts of Sana'a Governorate. These positions have been liberated by heroes. It was strong and fortified, but the will of the fighters was stronger.
Yemen was already the poorest Arab country before the Saudi-led coalition went to war with the Houthis in March 2015. Now, Riyadh may have lost an ally in the UAE and risks a spread of hostilities across its border.
مسكنا عدة أشياء عدة منظمات مسكنا طائرات مسيرة بدون طيار أجهزة اتصالات بعض الأسلحة تكون موزعة في بعض الأسلحة المنظمات الأسلحة تكون موزعة في عدة قطاع.
It's the worst-case scenario for Saudi Arabia, already criticised for heavy-handed tactics in Yemen. For the starving Yemenis, any prospect for peace is more remote than ever. Gary Cox, SBS World News.
Well, the Prime Minister is promising a major jobs injection with a new push to make Australia one of the top 10 arms exporters in the world. But critics say our export focus should be elsewhere.
Do you have a driver's door on this one? No.
The Bushmaster's one of our most successful military exports, and the Turnbull government spotted a window of opportunity it wants to further explore.
It all comes down to this: Australian jobs, 21st century jobs, high-tech, cutting-edge jobs.
The US is the world's largest defence exporter with a third of market share. Australia's well behind with less than 0.5%. The government's aim is to reach the top 10 within a decade. It'll make loans available to defence companies through an almost $4 billion fund.
Australia should be exporting clean energy technology, health services, education services, not killing machines.
Despite growing tensions in the Asia-Pacific region, the Turnbull government's distanced itself from the Trump administration's definition of Russia and China's growing military might as a greater threat than terrorism.
We don't see threats from our neighbours in the region, but nonetheless, every country must always plan ahead.
Defence experts say the export push will make it easier for Australian military personnel to work with allies because they'll have the same radio frequencies, vehicle fuel and calibre of weapons.
We need to be supporting defence industry in Australia, not only for our own capabilities, but we can also export some of the really clever and very capable equipment that we've got to our friends and allies.
They include the US, UK, Canada and New Zealand, although the government wants to eventually expand to Europe, Asia and the Middle East.
Obviously, no equipment or platforms will be sold to any country unless the most stringent requirements are put in place through the permits process.
But manufacturing here still largely requires US components, which brings with it US vetting for workers. SBS News understands that in many cases, permanent residents and dual citizens from particular countries will still need to go through additional screening before they qualify.
It will affect a very significant number of people in the workforce. 2 people turn up for a job, one's an Australian and gets the job, the other one is a dual citizen or a permanent resident, and they don't get the job unless they pass a security clearance.
Meaning extra jobs for some and extra roadblocks for others. Maria Zivic, SBS World News.
In his first international TV interview as president, Donald Trump admits he's shaking things up, but insists that's just what his country needs. He also revealed he sometimes tweets from bed. The interview tackling all subjects but the Russia inquiry.
Mr. President.
Tonight, a reunion between the former winner of the Celebrity Apprentice and his old boss, now the President of the United States.
Let's go. Come on, Pierce.
British journalist Piers Morgan presses Trump on a range of issues, from his views of women, who have protested Trump's presidency in record numbers.
Are you a feminist? No, I wouldn't say I'm a feminist. I mean, I think that would be maybe going too far. I'm for women, I'm for men, I'm for everyone.
To his refusal to endorse stronger gun control measures, even after the mass shooting in Las Vegas.
If they had the bullets going in the opposite direction, you would have saved a lot of lives. So I get what you're saying, but I believe in the Second Amendment.
Trump also takes credit for a booming economy.
A lot of the global economy, Piers, is because of how well we're doing. You know, most people will admit that, but we are doing well. That's helping all around the globe. That's a good thing.
The interview, downright chummy at times. One topic Morgan steers clear of is the ongoing Russia investigation. Today, the Washington Post reports Trump recently considered firing his deputy attorney general, the man who appointed the special counsel. This after reports confirmed by ABC News that Trump considered firing Bob Mueller, too. Some members of the president's party worry Trump may be flirting with an obstruction of justice charge.
It's pretty clear to me that everybody in the White House knows it'd be the end of the President Trump's presidency if he fired Mr. Mueller.
On Tuesday night, President Trump hits the reset button at his first State of the Union address. He's expected to make the case that the Trump economy has been good for all Americans. But that inclusive message won't erase his inflammatory rhetoric on issues of race and immigration. Overnight, rapper Jay-Z called the president out over reported comments suggesting in harsh language that African immigrants are undesirable.
It's disappointing and it's hurtful. It really is hurtful, more so like looking down on the whole population.
Today, Trump fired back on Twitter, "Somebody please inform Jay-Z that because of my policies, black unemployment has just been reported to be at the lowest rate ever recorded."
Coming up after the break, a warning to parents over school lunchboxes.
Real people that surprise us.
Will your kids get to know the sperm donors?
When I ask them, would you like a daddy, they go no.
Raw honesty that humbles us.
You did 2 tours of Afghanistan.
I'd wake up and start my day with drugs.
Lives that inspire us.
How do you feel about your situation? I'm hopeful life will change.
It's what makes us Australian.
The best of Inside. Tomorrow 8:40 on SBS and on demand.
Find a better sleep at Harvey Norman with our huge range of mattresses and ensembles. 5 big brands in store. King Coil, Sleepmaker, Sealy, Tempur and Sleepsense. All sizes from single to super king. With a choice of comfort feels from super firm to ultra plush. Upgrade to an adjustable base for the ultimate sleep experience. Complete your bedroom with pillows, quilts, sheets and more. A whole new look can refresh your space. Comfort and style. Get it all at Harvey Norman, your destination for bedding.
Super confident in all the brands that we sell. There is definitely something for everyone.
I try to deal with the pain, don't want to be left behind today. I found the strength to take control. I won't take the pain.
Get up to 8 hours relief with the strength of 2 ingredients in a single tablet. Take control. Treat pain with Nusinovin.
You can't experience the Canadian Rockies through a screen. You have to be here with us. Travel through this natural wonder and get a glimpse of amazing. With a glass of wine in one hand and a camera in the other. Aboard Rocky Mountaineer. Canada's Rocky Mountains await. Call your travel agent or Rocky Mountaineer for special offers now.
You give me that boy! Now you give me that boy you're hiding! You harboring a prisoner!
We gonna catch this murder?
Yes, boss.
When?
Real soon, boss.
Sam's way smarter than we are. He's probably sitting out there now, looking at you, laughing.
I'm not going back. I know he's here somewhere. Sam! Coming for you. It won't be long, Sam!
SBS News anywhere, anytime. Download the app or go to sbsnews.com.au.
Firefighters in Western Australia have been battling a large bushfire that broke out near the popular holiday town of Augusta in the state's southwest. Strong winds fanned the fast-moving blaze. Firefighters were able to protect several homes with the help of water bombers. For up-to-date information on the fire, visit WA's emergency website. A man has been shot dead by police in Melbourne during an alleged robbery at a bottle shop in the city's east. An officer reportedly opened fire when the suspect threatened the bottle shop owner with a gun. A man facing terror-related charges has refused to stand up for a Supreme Court judge. Robyn Alou, who pleaded guilty to charges relating to the shooting death of police accountant Curtis Cheng, could now face a contempt of court count.
It was a defiant Robyn Alou who appeared at the New South Wales Supreme Court for the first day of his sentencing hearing. He pleaded guilty in May over his involvement in the death of police accountant Curtis Cheng. Mr Cheng was shot dead by 15-year-old Fahar Jabbar as he left work in Sydney's West in 2015. Alou's defence counsel Matthew Johnston SC indicated to the court early in proceedings that his client would not stand for the arraignment, citing religious reasons. In questioning the decision, Justice Peter Johnson read a statement from the Australian National Imams Council, which contradicted his stance. There is no prohibition or restraint on a Muslim standing up for the magistrate or judge as a sign of respect to the magistrate or judge and to the court. After a short adjournment, Alou was asked to stand for the arraignment. He was made aware that there could be ramifications for his choice not to stand. He was then asked again, and he refused. Justice Johnson said he would not delay the sentencing hearing given the victim's family was present. After the charge of aiding, abetting, counselling or procuring the commission of a terrorist act was read, the seated offender leant into the microphone to plead guilty. The court was told by Crown Prosecutor Paul Maguire SC that Alou maintained his extremist views and had shown little remorse for his actions. Citing an incident at Goulburn Jail where it's alleged Alou threatened corrective services officers during a blaze lit by other inmates. "I'm going to put a bullet in every single one of you," he allegedly said, before making an IS-inspired gesture. In an intercepted call on Christmas Eve, the 20-year-old is also alleged to have told his mother and brother that "I do not regret a single thing I did that day. I'm never going to say sorry." Mr Cheng's family watched proceedings from the public gallery today. The court is expected to hear from his wife Selena when she reads a victim impact statement tomorrow. The hearing continues. Laurie Lewira, SBS World News.
As the new school year begins, parents are being urged to carefully consider the contents of their children's lunchbox. Some popular sandwich combinations contain surprisingly high quantities of salt, leading to warnings from health experts.
Guys, what are we making for lunch?
For mum of three, Jade Gukassian, there's one sure thing when it comes to the school lunch.
Oh, perfect. I've got some great ham here and some cheese.
And there are reasons why the ham and cheese combo tops the sandwich charts. For fussy eaters like 7-year-old Alou and 5-year-old Scylla.
I open the lunchbox at the end of the day and all the cheese and ham sandwiches are go. Sometimes the avocado and cheese, sticks around a little bit because it's gone a bit yucky and they don't want to eat it.
But Heart Foundation research has revealed the sandwich staple with butter and white bread contains about 3 grams of salt.
Which is nearly the whole daily salt allowance for a 4 to 8-year-old child and well over half for an older child as well.
Ms Armstrong says childhood salt consumption, often framed around Vegemite, processed meat and packaged foods, can track to adulthood. It's now estimated 75% of salt intake is from processed and packaged foods.
Sauces and cooking sauces or dressings and condiments, crackers and store-bought dips.
Providing food for thought for those preparing the school lunch.
Absolutely. I wouldn't give my children that so often if I knew that that's what the intake was.
Dietitian Melanie McGrice says the answer lies in simple food swaps like replacing bread with rice or noodles.
Cheese for a tub of yoghurt and your ham you could swap with something like a little tin of tuna.
She says the salt trap is especially present for new arrivals to Australia many of whom quickly adopt a Western diet.
And that can actually often be higher in salt and higher in processed foods. So often they're actually much better off retaining their traditional cultural diets.
So for the Gucassians, it'll be ham and cheese for tomorrow's return to school.
Yeah, I think we're all done for tomorrow now.
But from now on, only once a week. Luke Waters, SBS World News.
An Australian duo from the Hillsong Church is the only local act to win at the 2018 Grammy Awards in New York. The group, formed in Sydney, has had global success with its Christian-inspired music.
The movement that hijacked the Golden Globes, re-emerging at the music industry's biggest awards night. On the red carpet, dozens of artists wearing white roses in support of Time's Up, which advocates against sexual misconduct. The theme continuing inside, with a powerful performance of Kesha's Praying. The singer joined by a string of female artists including Cyndi Lauper, Julia Michaels and Camila Cabello. Before they took the stage, this message.
Time's up. We say time's up for pay inequality. Time's up for discrimination. Time's up for harassment of any kind. And time's up for the abuse of power.
Cuban-Mexican singer Camila Cabello delivering another message, expressing her support for the so-called Dreamers, child immigrants brought illegally to the US. Her speech an apparent swipe at President Trump, who ended the program that protects them from deportation.
And all I know is just like dreams, these kids can't be forgotten and are worth fighting for.
While Hillary Clinton was the star of a more humorous dig at the president, drawing some of the loudest reactions of the night.
Nobody knew he was coming, and the food was safely
emerging in a recorded skit where she read from controversial White House expose, Fire and Fury. Hillsong Worship was the only Australian nominee to win an award. Singer-songwriters Brooke Lightwood and Ben Fielding winning the Best Contemporary Christian Music category for their song, What a Beautiful Name.
We were surprised more than anything, but it's kind of something that you never really dream of, but we're really stoked that we get the recognition.
Fellow Australian nominees Sia, rock band Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and Sydney trio Masonaire all missed out on awards. It was R&B artist Bruno Mars who took home the top prize, winning 6 Grammys in total, including Song of the Year for That's What I Like and Album of the Year for 24K Magic.
Oh my God.
Abby O'Brien, SBS World News.
Well, coming up next, I'll be back. Roger Federer's pledged to return to Melbourne Park.
Tomorrow on SBS at 7:30, actor and comedian Ricky Tomlinson explores his family history in Who Do You Think You Are? Then it's the Best of Insight 2017 at 8:40. And at 9:40, it's One Born Every Minute.
If I told you about her, what would I say? Perhaps I would just warn you about the tale of love and loss and the monster who tried to destroy it all. If I spoke about it, what would I tell you?
The Shape of Water, in cinemas now.
Find your spark now with eHarmony's free Communication Week.
If it wasn't for eHarmony, I'm quite convinced that we would never have crossed paths. Because of eHarmony, we did.
Don't miss out. eHarmony's free Communication Week ends tomorrow.
Prices are down in the deli at Coles.
New to down. Don Virginian leg ham and honey leg ham from the deli down to just $17.50 a kilo. Save $2.50 a kilo.
Down prices in the deli, only at Coles.
How can I best cope with stress?
What we found was actually really exciting.
The secret to your fitness kick could be a cup of coffee.
The brand new season of Trust Me, I'm a Doctor. Next Monday, 8:30 on SBS and on demand.
Let's check the finance figures now. And the Australian share market has started the week stronger. By the close, the 200 added nearly 0.5%. The miners were mixed. Telstra did well. Markets in Europe also mixed in early trade. The Australian dollar is buying just under 81 US cents. Roger Federer has pledged to return to Melbourne Park to defend his Australian Open crown next year after winning the title for a 6th time. The 36-year-old was pushed to 5 sets by Croatia's Marin Cilic in last night's decider. The victory was his 3rd Grand Slam in 12 months and his 20th overall.
After a night of celebrations, victorious Roger Federer was tired and chilled. After a 5-year drought, including a serious knee injury, the Swiss has won 3 of the last 5 majors, and he wants more.
Maybe next year when I do come back, I might actually believe I can win it, but then I probably won't win it, you know. Last
night, Federer couldn't hold back the tears. Raw emotion spilt over as the 36-year-old completed his acceptance speech, having overcome a tenacious Marin Cilic.
Thank you.
The man after whom the arena is named, Rod Laver, captured the moment. Soon after, Federer took a congratulatory call from the Swiss president. His closest rivals have struggled with injuries and form, and the next generation hasn't yet stepped up. But Federer's 20th Grand Slam title and record equalling 6th in Melbourne didn't come easily. The 29-year-old Cilic's elevation to world number 3 came with fighting qualities which will see him continue as a major contender. After a slow start to lose the first, he took the second set tiebreak.
Marin played well, and then I just think I froze in the tiebreaker.
But at 2 sets to 1 and ahead in the 4th, it looked as though Federer was cruising.
Wow.
Then another twist. Cilic reeled off 5 games in a row for 2 sets all.
He's got the break.
And he had break points early in the 5th.
I personally don't think I'll come back if he breaks me first.
The champ went on to close it out.
And Federer finds a way to number 6. Of course, winning is just an absolute dream come true. The fairy tale continues for us, for me.
Federer is now 4 Grand Slam titles clear of Spanish rival Rafael Nadal. 2 more will see him double the total won by Rod Laver and Bjorn Borg. Few would dare back against him, adding to his tally. John Haysbell, SBS World News.
To the weather now, and in the major centres, partly cloudy in Adelaide and Sydney, a chance of rain in Canberra and Brisbane, showers easing in Hobart, and Melbourne, lots of sunshine for Perth. Looking further afield, partly cloudy in Auckland, wet weather in Samoa. In Southeast Asia, showers for Singapore, thunder in Jakarta. Further north, lots of sunshine for Tokyo and Beijing, cloudy in Hanoi. Heading west, partly cloudy in Islamabad and Jerusalem, sunny in Baghdad, also in Mumbai. To Europe, a few showers for London and Warsaw. It's snowing in Moscow and Stockholm, and sunshine for Athens and Belgrade. In Africa, thunder in Johannesburg, cloudy in Addis Ababa, Dhaka and Lagos. In South America, rain for Bogota and La Paz, partly cloudy in Buenos Aires and Lima. And for North America, it's snowing in New York, Chicago and Washington, and sunny in Los Angeles and Denver. That's the world this Monday. All tonight's stories are online, and for news around the clock, go to our website. I'm Darren Mara. Good night.